Hugging out of the way. Oh, we missed a few people coming in. Anyway, so we are going to, I would like to have grandmother come up, and I would like you to do an invocation for us. I didn't warn her about that. Oh, yeah.
Um, Good morning. Mino Gesup Buju Nish Nibi Kwe Indisnakas. I said, good morning. My birth name is Second Water Woman, and I'm going to start with something that my father and my ancestors spoke of. It's called The Gathering. We woke today to a world that is not prepared for the awakening of more than 1,000 strong women. We breathe the scent of wildflowers as we whisper to the grandparents before us. We are here. We have awoken. We will take these lessons that you have taught us throughout time and share them along the blessings of the Red Road. We are grateful for all the nations gathering here. We give thanks to all the directions for balance, our pure thoughts, to undo the damage that has contaminated us as a nation. We will humble ourselves to others and stay in equal ground with them until we can soar with you again, great Creator. We are alive, we are strong, we are warrior women and people who have awoken. So this, I want to say thank you, and we'll open the day with that.
Thank you. That's all right. All right, so at this point, I'd like to read our statement of intent. We are fortunate to have a variety of speakers for Sunday services. By using guest speakers, we gain wisdom from all those who share. This is a church where we can worship the God of our own understanding, a place to experience joy and be uplifted, a place where we can gain strength and inspiration to share with all we meet throughout the week. We invite you to join us in this celebration of life, to nourish your spirit, and to enjoy the company of kindred souls. And with that, let us stand up and praise and be singing, Let There Be Peace. Let us sing our opening hymn, our song, and it is on the white card. Not high enough for me? Now, don't sit down yet. We're going to sing another song. Our good friend Barbara here is going to play for us a surprise. She didn't even tell me.
She said, what hymn are you going to play? I said, let me surprise you. And I'm sure you know the song, so. Slow down, you move too fast. Gotta make the morning last, just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. Ba-da-da-da-da-da, feeling groovy. Hello, lamppost, what you knowin'? I've come to watch your flowers growin'. Ain't you got no rhymes for me? Doo-doo-doo-doo, feelin' groovy. Ba-da-da-da-da-da, feelin' groovy. Da-da-da-da, feelin' groovy. I got no deeds to do, no promises to keep. I'm dappled and drowsy and ready for sleep. Let the morning time drop all its petals on me. Life, I love you, all is groovy. Da-da-da-da-da-da, feeling groovy. Da-da-da-da, feeling groovy. Right? Woo! Yeah! Woohoo! That's the first hymn.
All right, thank you. I love that song. Anyway, so let's start with a few announcements. First things first, remember to please to turn your phones on mute or silent or do not disturb while we're doing the recording for me today. Thanks. Also, we have other announcements. I'm sure Carolyn has some things she would like to say.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. Look how many people are here now, all of a sudden. Our gathering process that Denise and I have sort of been connoitering on, and mostly Denise has put it together. Our calendar is coming along downstairs, you'll see it. And we've kind of come to a resting point with it, with these concepts. And there's going to be a couple things that we do as a church, sponsored by the church. And one, Denise can speak about for us in a moment briefly, but it's every other week, a conversation time. I mean, 2 times a month. And then we're also going to do a birthday group, just for the people of the church who want to. And we have 5 people on that list so far. So every other month, we're going to go out and get a meal together somewhere. So if you're interested in that birthday group, we're going to do 2 months at a time. So this time we're going to tip a glass to the February and March birthdays early in this month. And then in 2 more months, we'll do it again. We're just going to see how that goes. Then the other 2 things that have happened is that we talked about elder housing and intentional community groups that are across the country, developing ways to be more creative than the typical assisted living, and even before assisted living, for elders that want to live closer together and share, have smaller homes and share community clubhouses or something. So that's not being sponsored by the church, but there are 4 of us from this community that want to go to the meetings. And then the other thing that we want to do just on our own for people who want to, but that we've discussed, is that there are $8 suppers available Monday through Friday at UWS for elders over 60. And so you can get a card, and we're not going to try to organize that and send to groups. You look at the menu online. If you like the supper, you go. And you grab a fund from church or not from church, if you wish. So that's information that Denise has pulled together. So you see the distinction. Things that we're really doing as a church and things that we have networked out to the church. Okay, and the last thing is that we've just taken a quick board round, and we've been working feverishly and joyfully, I would say, and creatively on our principles. And deliberately and with guidance. Yes, there you go. Yes, and it's all happened in a week, because we had a meeting last Sunday, and now we're real close. And I've just taken a quick scan of the board members. We're going to hold off on sharing it until we're really finished next week, and we'll share it with you, and then that'll be a draft, and you'll respond and we'll listen, and you'll respond and we'll listen till we as many of us as possible feel good about them. But we can assure you they're coming along beautifully, and by next lunchtime, we'll have papers in your hands, most likely, for you to look at. And that said, Denise, maybe you could just do a quick update on the tea and conversation.
It's a little low, but I'll make it work. Tea and Conversation started, I don't know, a month or so ago. Last month, I think, was the first month. It's the first and third Monday at 11 a.m. And it goes for about an hour, depending on how much we discuss what we're watching. Right now, we're watching a Gaia program entitled, it's on channeling. That's the subject. But we're just about ready to wrap that up, so if you'd like to come and give some new ideas of where we want to go next, that'd be great. But our meeting is tomorrow, and I hope to see as many of you there as are interested. Thank you. What time? 11 a.m.
All right, and I have one more quick announcement here for those of you who would like to join the Unity Book Group. Rick has announced in his email that he is going to start it up again, and it's going to be on Monday evenings, starting on March 20th at 6 p.m. and every following Monday night. So they will be doing it all on Zoom and in person here at the church for those of you who would like to do both. So if you want to join the Unity Book Group, I don't think he mentioned a book yet, but you can always check with Rick, or you can, just stop in.
It's up to us if he wants ideas.
Oh, he wants ideas. I didn't read the whole. I just wanted to find out when he was starting. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to do is I would like to do the quick and easy. What we are now saying as some of our affirmations is a call and response. So joyful teamwork is our way. Joyful teamwork is our way. Listening kindly is our path. Listening kindly is our path. And we are in renewal together. We are in renewal together. Yeehaw! All right. So now we're going to do the principles. Would we like to do the short version or the long version today?
I like the long one.
All right, let's do our regular old Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church principles, which you'll find on the white card. All right, so we believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We believe in our universal connection in spirit and that there is communication between the spiritual and physical worlds. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule, whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of individuals and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter. And we affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes contained in all sacred texts. Now, at this point, I would like to ask if there are any prayer requests.
Don and Zane.
What's that?
Don and Zane.
Don and Zane. That's all we're going to do. Don and Zane. I would like to help us all pray for Steve, who fell while doing our duties as shovelers. He slipped and fell and hurt himself quite internally, and his ribs are still hurting. So all healing prayers to Steve, because we need him on the shoveling crew. Because I personally am, my lower back is not happy with all the shoveling I've done this year either, so. And for all those other shovelers out there who have pain and agony and are waiting for spring eagerly, but we know better. It's only March. Winter's not over yet, right? All right, and any other healing or prayer requests?
Suffering in the world.
Suffering in the world, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are so many places that need our prayers right now. So we can send those off also. Remember that you can always put in a name or an intention in our healing bowl, and that we do pray over that throughout the course of the service. And if you don't have a piece of paper and want to put it in physically, or you want to put it in at some other time, that's fine. But we also do that emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Yes, Sherry?
We pray for Ukraine and for their country.
Yes, pray for Ukraine, exactly. They still need our help, and we still need to push for that.
Pray for Russia.
Pray for Russia so that they go see the light. I know. Marky?
Pray for people in Ohio.
Oh, pray for the people in Ohio. Yeah, they're still without power after, what, 11 days? Another train wreck, too. Oh, my gosh, yes. So there are all kinds of places and people that need healing. And we are the ones to be able to push that forth. So with that in mind, I'd like to say a little prayer over the healing bowl, and then we'll have a moment of meditation over it. Creator, we ask your healing blessing for all the offered names today. As their highest self wishes, may they receive the best healing for themselves and be raised up in God's love and light. Thank you. And with that, we say thank you. Miigwech. Did you have a meditation in mind for us as well? Or just to hold the whole thing? All right. So with that in mind, let us have our famous speaker here with us today. I am going to butcher this, but I will do my best. All right. We have today with us, our speaker is Mary Lyons, Ojibwe elder, Nish Nabi Ikwi, second water woman. Did I do that okay? We're close. She is an elder of the tribe and of the Water Drum Circle and a senior member of the Top Hat Medicine Dress / Long Skirt Society. She's a spiritual advisor and storyteller and wisdom teacher. We are honored, excited, and grateful to receive her messages and her presence. Miigwech and Mary, Grandma Mary, we would love to have you come up and join us today.
I was going to sit down, but you're being recorded, right? So I'm going to bring this over.
If you want to sit down in front, we can bring you a chair and you can hold the microphone.
No, I think I'll be good up here. Normally, this is really kind of odd for me to do. I think the last time I did this was, I'll give you a little history about me, first of all. My father is First Nations, Anishinaabe Ojibwe. He, we never knew what the invisible, the lines were from Canada to the United States. It was just the northern territories and out there. And he was born in 1889. His mother was 52 when she had him, and her mother was in the 50s, in the late 1700s. So late 1700s to the two in there. My knowledge is only from that. I don't have a bunch of grandparents from this era, from last era. I just got 3 ancestral teachings from the late 1700s that it is extremely familiar with. My mother is stateside in Anishinaabe Ojibwe. That's all I am. My grandfather was in the last Native war that was here in Minnesota. So we have a lot of stories in that there that we talk about. I come from a very large family. I always used to say to people and this stuff, when you're here in stateside, and it's only stateside within the United States that I hear people call themselves, oh, I'm just a white person. No, you're not. There's a whole history to who you are, and you should honor your history as the Anishinaabe, all tribal people out there. We never say who we are first, we sing our ancestors first, because we have to appreciate the past that we were brought here to, because what they went through was through a lot of pain and hurt, just to make sure we were sitting in this room here having what we have. I always like to do additional history that builds bridges, because if we don't build bridges, we can't really take ourselves and put true value to it, because we still have this thing called segregation and separation here in the United States, which really saddens me, because, the indigenous people here can probably say, this is what you did to me. And those are songs of pains that the colonizers come in and they don't like to hear, because in actuality it happened to them as well. So we have to build that bridge by sharing our history, and that is what happened on our lands happened in your lands, or you wouldn't be sitting here today. The horrificness of stealing people, stealing the lands in Europe and out there. Your ancestors fled and wanted to save their lineage lines, and so they came to the shores. And with those shores, we always tell those little ones, about this land of free, and how our history isn't told in the schools or anywhere. And it's a shame, because this hierarchy of kind of the snap of the whip in out there kind of keeps not just indigenous, but all people in shape here. And what I mean by that is that, now I want you to close your eyes for a minute. Maybe I'll do a little exercise. Just think of those 3 ships that are on their way over to discover America, right? And those ships are little and they're old and there's very few people on there and there's illness. But prior to them leaving the lands of Europe, they were designated and they were en route to India. And somewhere the oceans, helped them take a turn. And so they ended up not on the shores of what we call North America. They ended up on the shores of a small island. And in this small island, they stayed, and it was the Tiano people that brought them back to health. And the leader of that ship in that there decided to stay and designated his people to carry on. Well, on those ships wasn't just water that they wanted as their priority. On those ships, there was big barrels of whiskey and out there that was put on, because that helped medicate, do whatever it had to do to get them through the illnesses of the oceans and out there, as is told within part of the history books that are still laying in the halls of Washington, D.C. And within part of those scriptures in that there, the people that came and when they landed to the shores of this land, mind you, these 3 tiny ships, they said in history books they conquered the heathens. And we wanted to get the heathens to act more like us so we could be as one nation. Now, on the flip side of that, you got to remember how big, just imagine how big the United States is and Canada. Masses and masses of land. This land is such a large mass, greater than the small countries in Europe. And so there was millions and millions of people, millions and millions of identified with that fear of people called heathens. Now, if we were heathens, do you think all of us would be sitting here today? The heathens would have destroyed those 3 tiny ships with a small amount of people. But we have to get those stories correct. Is that they were welcomed in, they were fed. Not everybody on those ships were bad. There were families that came because they wanted to leave the destruction of their homelands. But yet we had that hierarchy of who was running those ships. And that's behavior, that protocol still happens today. And it's calling the hierarchy of the political views on what we have here in the United States. So you can open your eyes now. And so having said that, you have to remember that the indigenous peoples of these lands here, no matter what tribal systems they are from, they believe in one creation, one creator, one under the greatness, the Great Spirit. And how that is defined is up to that individual. But the essence of it is with a good energy, it's within a good cause, it's in with appreciation, anything with the pluses, even if there's a negative, that negative is found as balance. Does that make sense? So, with the teachings that I have received from my ancestors, how I got to be that small Native girl in northern Minnesota and part of Canada and that was taken from her homeland through boarding schools and created such havoc within this life. I could have carried anger, but anger doesn't get you anywhere. I had to remember the teachings of my ancestors. So within that ancestral line and out there, we stayed in that balance and we stayed in the positive, no matter how negative life took its tolls. And I always remembered the words of my ancestors. And somehow, this little Native girl ended up traveling the world, you know, because I put my hands in the Creator and said, you know, do with me as you please, as long as it's in a good way. I've traveled the world, I can't tell you how many times. I've stayed in countries that were in war zones, whatever it may be, and walked in with a peaceful mind and left with a peaceful mind. We never talked ill will about the destructions and the horrificness of what happens. We only felt the pity and the darkness. And you cannot feed darkness with more darkness, otherwise you become the dark person. And those were my teachings, and I had to repeat a lot of these teachings over and over again, and as the older I got, I was thinking, oh God, you want to hear that again, you know? And I had these friends said, you should put these journals, because I have a lot of journals of information that I wanted to make sure that my children had. And so my one friend finally talked me into, I had several big companies within the book world wanting to take and probably do what they wanted with it. And I said no. But I had this one friend that I didn't even know was a publisher, a small publishing company out east and out there. And she said, let me do it. And I trusted her. And so her and her colleague, which was a young girl, sweetest young girl, because I thought, if they can get through some of my journals and if they could handpick what they wanted to handpick out of there, what would change their lives, what would it be? So I really trusted. I said, here, take what you need to take. Because I gave these out freely. I pass these on to friends, as you know, are written throughout the globe. And some people have taken these lessons and published them as their own. And I could have got angry, but I said, no, if it made goodness from other people that reading it, that's all that counts. You know, because the trickery in this was that what they may have stolen, there was still goodness on the other end of it. So, and that's why, so if you want a book club, who's ever doing it, this is a good book. Let's lead into the advertising, right? So she did that. She wrote on wisdom lessons, and where this water was in Lake Michigan, because along with the work that I do, I'm also environmental, you know, activist. Say it as it is, you know, because I really believe on what my grandfather said. My grandfather said, Canute said, people are forgetting the real rights, the real passages of life. They're bringing additional garbage words, and they're not practicing what those rightful truths are. And they never told you this is it, right? They never gave you the answer. You know, God, I was a late learner, so I think, oh yeah, 12 years later, oh, I get it, you know, when some little kids got it right away, and I was just like, oh my gosh. But that's the way they were. They would never give you the instructions of life because they felt the way they handle life, you should know it. They said, my father would say too, don't repeat what I did because I've already lived that life. I think you know enough about life that I want to watch you go your life. And so anyways, my grandfather had said that, you know, our family stories are about, we believe we are people from the stars. You know, we have this agreement, this original agreement with Creator. And we say, you know, okay, we're going to come down to earth and we're going to be obedient in the way as good caretakers and not landlords. So we will come and we'll enter the pools of water within our mother's womb. And with that, we know water carries memory. So we've got all this download of memory since the beginning of time in us. And then when we enter this world, we'll take that next breath of one of the elements, is air. We'll breathe it in. And then we'll feel the warmth of the sun, which is fire. And then we'll plant our feet and nourish off the next element, and that's earth. Those are 4 elements that everything, everyone in this planet depends on. And those 4 elements shows no prejudice. Mankind created that to segregate and to conquer and to be the whip, because they weren't given those rites of passages of that freedom, that will, that worthiness, that unconditional love, and our 7 teachings, our grandfathers and grandmothers' teachings. So within those teachings and this stuff, as people started losing those 4 unconditional rites of passage to be within this planet, life took a change. We felt we needed to have this, we needed to have that, we needed to live here. We needed to start separating and segregating ourselves because this is what we accomplished in this world. And so now I want you to close your eyes again. Think about when we first had a water bill. Isn't that something? Thousands of years. We had the free passage of water That water was never to be prostituted in a sense that we had to put 1 penny to it. It fed us, it nourished us, and that was one of the elements Creator entrusted us to take care of, and we forgot about that. Then the next thing is when did we have the first gas bill? We lived thousands of years without having a gas bill. We prostituted the next element. And then the next element, and then the next element. So when you think about that, you know, you have a water bill, a gas bill, electric bill. You have to pay taxes on land. Shame on us for not sticking to the original agreement with Creator. Now, Creator created this agreement with us. So we say to the world, when we meet our Creator again, what do you think that report card's going to be? We have to get out of this grandiose thinking in order to be as that oneness again. You see the destruction of what they did to the water? They turned it toxic into poison, into alcohol. That has been since the beginning of time, to take away your free will, to do what they want to do with you, because humans became the most prominent, dominant commodity of all times. Because if they can take all your free will and your mind and this stuff and lure it away from Creator back into that darkness. But just think, when that happened, the worst destruction was in the last 150 years. 150 years ago, we were all organic, and now we can walk through small organic stores and pay outrageous money for what should have never been. Our grocery stores didn't start happening until the last 100 years. So when we see the homeless people out there, we think, oh gosh, wonder what happened to them. But listen, that's the way all our ancestors used to live at one time or another. So how do we know that Creator isn't putting visuals before us for a reminder of how we should be? How what we have and what they don't have, but the one thing we share in common is that breath of life. So we have to start looking at our own report cards before we go on to that grand circle of life and return to say, how well did we do here? How well did we teach our children? Are we going to see our children within their life, or are they going to be repeated to learn over and over again? So these are certain things that we teach when we go out through the world and out there, and we humble ourselves. And we're so honored to share that one breath. It was in New Zealand, and the very first time that I went, I was honored to go with the grandmothers and with the Maori grandmothers and with great-grandmother Rose Petty up on her mountain. Her home was above the mist. And then later on, we went to the South Island with the lamas, with the Dalai Lama and them, to sit in silence. And boy, let me tell you, was that hard. Because they say the worst war you'll ever face is the war that's from within. Now, remember, I told you, I was a late bloomer on learning things, right? Oh, God, over 60-some years, I'm thinking, holy buckets. I'm sitting in silence about the first 45 minutes to an hour. I'm arguing with myself. You know, how can I get out of this space? You know, really boring. I think I'm going to be sick. I was trying doing everything out of it. And to the time I exhausted myself. And I forgot that they told me if you get tired, you can lay down. I sat up for the whole 3 hours, arguing with myself. And it took me a long time. And the next day came around. I was thinking I'm too sick to go. But I was saying that all the way until I got back to the rocks again. But it was easier because I thought we were going to have to go back on that silence. No, then we went into laughter. So part of that was it reminded me of what my ancestors were telling me of, you are your own medicine. And laughter, no matter what it is going to be, is going to heal you as long as it's good laughter. You know, that energy which resonates from people that are laughing and this stuff is just a healing environment. It's like a clinic of healing when you get many people that are just laughing in good humor. You know, you just have that goodness. And then you can't forget about the polar opposite when you may start feeling that fear of walking into a group that's angry. But at least you have the sense, and it's not your head that tells you you have the sense. It's in the center of your being. It's your spiritual being. It's your spirit. When you enter this body, and when your mother develops this beautiful blanket around your spirit, your center is right in the pit of your stomach. It's like the first time you fell in love, you don't think, oh my gosh, I fell in love, right? Oh God, you know. No, you get all goofy and you get stomach butterflies and all that stuff, right? Same as if you felt fear. You don't think, oh my gosh, this is fearful. No, it resonates right from the center of your universe within you as you know something's wrong, and then it's projected up into this computer chip of your brain that's temporarily yours. So with all of this having been said and out there, these wisdom lessons here became the key to empower who you are. There are different stories. You can open the book. You can go anywhere. I have people that'll do it. My intention for this really was when I wanted to send this out into the world were people in prisons, people that were so not wanting to be a part of this world, for them to find that they don't need to wait for anybody to hand them an empowerment key, that they have that empowerment key themselves, and that they can do with free will what they want to do in this world. It takes away the pain, it takes away the loneliness, you know, it gives you joy in this stuff. And it's not this book that's doing it. All it does, it gives you recollections and empowers you to make you remember, because your ancestor didn't plant their future seeds in here to sit within that type of negativeness. So, and I always encourage people to journal down, to write what they want to write in out there. So sometimes I just open it to read it, and I always believe Creator will give the right messages. I was kind of scrolling through and I thought, well, geez, what should I read or what? But I don't. It is intended to do what it has to do. Because, you know, I think sometimes, oh my gosh. Wait till this one. Here's a good one. I even forgot about it. Maybe it's meant for me. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to share one with you. In whose shell are these dancing demons partying? In whose shell are these dancing demons partying? Ever since I was little, I have seen them. They would come and change all the people around me. They made all these people look like they were having fun, but little did they know that this was a vacancy they inhibited was only temporarily. These visitors to our bodies can be enticing. They make you think you are having the best time of your life. They're sneaky as they bring their other friends to steal your soul. They put you to sleep, and then the dance begins. While you sleep, they advertise to the world that they are here. While you sleep, they take you to dark places you've never traveled to. While you sleep, they trick you into singing hurtful words. While you are asleep, they multiply their victims. These dark demons have no preference regarding gender, race, or age. They trick you into sleeping by using your so-called friends. They tell you that you are on the best ride ever, and they make you promises of endless joy. Then, when these tricksters we call dark demons aren't looking, someone shakes you, someone leaves you a key. These tricksters become aware you're awakening and do the unthinkable. They fight for your body. They want to end your walk here. These tricksters forgot that their visit is only temporarily. They forgot that they will have to end the dance. They will have to go. Remember when someone shook you awake and ended the dance. It was you, only you. You are the key You are the way out. You are free. You are free. It's a new day. But don't forget about the dark demon tricksters. They will always be lurking. So with these, we put them into a kind of a poetry that it crosses all cultures, and it was meant for humanity to remember who you are and your worth, and to know that if this light goes out, then we all go out. Because that's what happens, is that we are each other's energy that keeps this planet going. And that's called humanity, along with our other relatives. Because the other part of it is, within the environmental part that I do, is that you have to remember that this planet, we're all relatives and we all depend on one another. It's just not as human beings. So we have to take ourselves out of those pods, those boxes. Okay, like the root of the trees. The root of the trees, something happens to them. You know, here as I tell my, I don't know what I'm doing here, but let's go here. Is that, here's the ground, right? Here's the water. The water has memory. So the water thinks, well, you know, I'm going over there and visiting all my relatives, the roots, right? It nourishes the roots, and the roots, they have all of this togetherness. So these roots are like straws, and they'll share some of the memory, and they'll come up into this tree. And into this tree grows these beautiful arms, and these beautiful arms are coming out, and then these arms have this beautiful plant life that goes around them. And without these beautiful trees and that there, we have no pure oxygen, air. So we have to look at how our four elements are related and associated with this planet, and how we become good caretakers and not landlords. Does that make sense? The other part of it too is, you know, a lot of us will say, you know, well, we need to talk to the water carriers, or the, you know, who's ever the spiritual leaders in it. Well, what are we made mostly up of? Water. So we're all water carriers. We are all our own containers, and we all carry our own prayers to keep our spirit alive. There's no one special person. There might be a person that'll remind you of this. Nobody has one certain thing that says, you know, this is that one person's job, because that's that grandiose thinking of that hierarchy with that whip. We have to stand in our own space. We have to be those good landlords. The other part of it too is with the air. You got to remember that air we breathe in, right? And why I travel the planet is because I'm kind of curious, and I love being a student. I love learning. But when you walk into these disasters and this stuff of what's happening within these manufacturing and everything that's going on, it's harming that population of people. But without the realization within this planet, there's one breath. And if it happens down here and we live up here, that air is going to come up and it's going to finally maybe stop and settle all those pollutants. And usually it's been happening on the West Coast. The West Coast within the United States, nobody has really ever talked about is when there's a fire, why does it go as if you had some kerosene or that lighter fluid and you squirt it with a match and just shoots up? Nobody ever questions about why did these territories become so toxic. They do know why, is because they don't want to take the responsibility of having to say that happens down here. But we in the free world are feeling all this menace. And people will say, how do you feel all this menace? I would say, you know what? Have you ever walked into an elementary school these days? Have you ever went and talked to the school nurse? Love those school nurses. Love the therapists and stuff. But we have lines that are waiting for our nurses almost as long as them waiting for their lunch break, because they have to have their inhalants, their pills, or whatever it may be. We have to watch the contaminants of the water. We have to watch the contaminants of their diet. Who has this and who has that? This is new to us. So the thing for me is learning is how can we help prevent this? How can we be creators, warriors in a good way? How can we take care of what we promised our Creator in the beginning to that original agreement of taking care of these 4 elements? So it's reminding of what we need to do, because at least I know when I finally return to that grand circle of life. You know, they ask me, what do you give yourself as a grade? I want to say a C, because it's balance. I've had my ups and downs. I want to be honest. But I tried my hardest to get to A. But nobody could really get there, because Creator didn't make us that way. He didn't make everybody perfect. He made us. So what you have here, you have the right way and the left way. And if you get the negative, you leave it, just throw it away. And the right way you keep. So, in closing here, of what I want to share in the message for you, and I like to leave with good medicine, is, okay, I've got these books on sale on Amazon, and you're going to have these for your book clubs, right? So, the thing is just be very conscious about what is in your surroundings. I always do land mapping. We wonder why the world is so crazy and chaotic. You can do it by just driving around your neighborhood. How many liquor stores do we have? How many medical centers do we have? How many pharmacies do we have? How many all of the stuff that do we have versus on the other hand? Why are our playgrounds unsafe, and where are the teen centers, and where are these, and where was our yesterdays? Because at least I remember I used to go kickball. It was probably with, a bush or something. I don't know what it was. We used to swim in the lakes in Lake Winnebagosh and drink the water and not get sick. We used to go waddle in the rivers and out there and take a broken branch off and shave it down as a spear and spearhead fish and start a fire and put it over there and eat it as lunch, as I was telling somebody. And pick blueberries as our snacks and out there, and we played. And our parents and us trusted that, as long as we took care of the forest would take care of us. And the last thing is to remember is that what really makes me sad these days is our animals are coming into our territories because of the destruction of what we're doing to their homes. And they're coming for us for help. And most of them aren't being helped, they're being killed. So we have to really ground ourselves and put ourselves within our truths and have to put that report card down. And we have to say to ourselves, how well are we doing here on being good caretakers? So I want to leave you with that. So, Chimigoch.
Okie doke. This thing seems to want to fall down today. Thank you so much, Grandmother. Grandma Gigi. At this point, can we have a little music there, Maestro, please? And I would like for someone to bring forth the baskets so we can do our offering for today. So at this point, I do believe that we have a song that Barbara has prepared for us. So I'm going to let her play that for us.
Requires music. Do I hear music? Sorry. Ave Maria. Oh, listen to a prayer. We pray, oh Maria, hear our prayer. We need thy blessing this hour so fair. Bless this love, this heavenly hour so fair. Bless this hour so fair. Safe may we sleep beneath thy care, and bless this heavenly hour so fair. O maiden, send thy heavenly answer. O maiden, hear this fervent prayer. Ave Ave Maria. Oh, listen to a prayer. We give to this love eternal wisdom, and keep it safe from harm and woe. Make this love a love that will constantly grow, safe from harm and woe. O maiden, guard our love from harm. O maiden, guard our love from harm. O maiden, send your heavenly answer, and bless this love from your throne above.
got the goosebumps. Thank you. All right, so we can now say our church affirmation, which you will find on the white card. Our church affirmation. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. We know that as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with all the members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community, and we are grateful. Let us gather in our circle. We may have to extend it. What's that?
Keep the words here.
Oh.
30 years and I still can't
That's all right. Hey, we do this now.
There we go. The music holder.
Yes.
Oh, well. At least it's water.
No, you can. Oh,
No.
somebody else can.
What?
A blood benediction.
I'll do a better.
All right.
All right.
All right. So we'll have a benediction and we'll sing our final song.
All right. Dear Mother, Father, God, thank you so much for this beautiful day and for the amazing messages of great-grandmother Mary, because she brings this truth to us that reaches us on a deep level.